Hello, everyone. Welcome to Momming and Thriving podcast. I have a lovely guest today. Her name is Christiana. She's a servant of the Be Encouraged with Christiana ministry. She's a certified marriage and family counselor. She's been in education for about 8 years, and she's currently the director of learning for EYFS in the education sector. She's an author, she's a mentor, she's a friend, and she's just an all-round fantastic person. Christiana, welcome to today's podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. I am so glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, so can you tell us a bit more about yourself, something that's not in the bio that you would like our audience to know about you?
Okay, I will have said the bio, I said it all. I love God. I really love God. He's the author and finisher of everything. And everything just lies on that. I like singing. I like singing a lot. When I'm not doing anything else, I'm singing. And I like spending time with family. I am such a person that I like to be busy all the time. I'm not sure if I'm hyper. I have to find out. But I like I like to be engaged all the time. It looks as if I'm wasting away if there is any time that I just sit down that I'm not doing so much. So I can say I like multitasking as well. I think that's about it for now.
Thank you so much. And it seems like you're someone that enjoys being busy. And I hope you do find time to rest as well, where you're not doing anything and you're just relaxing. You're working on that. That facial expression means you're working on that.
Still working on it. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, your formative years. What would you say was a core part of what formed you as a person?
I think recently I had to think because I like reflecting. As someone in the educational sector, we reflect a lot. So I was just reflecting, and then I thought of so many things that happened to me when I was at a very young age. And thinking of all those things, I could realize that those are the things that formed the person I've become right now. And some of the things that I have as my own personal thing that formed my personality, so to say. Maybe things that I picked up from my parents, from my brothers, from conversations, from when we're playing. But most of it, I think one thing that has formed that has really stood out for me was the fact that from when I was reflecting, I realized that from when I was very young, seeing my mom and my dad always very busy. My dad will always tell us that whatever your hands find to do it with all
Do
your
it well.
like do it like this is the last thing you're going to do. Even if it is so simple, it looks so simple, just make sure you do it. And that's the principle he uses himself, he used when he was alive. So he works so hard, and he wouldn't allow us to have some time to rest, or, he just wanted us to know that you have to work hard. Nothing comes easy. And seeing that, now I realize that that's one of the reasons why I cannot sit for too long in a place. I also realized something. Maybe this is the highlight of my week, actually. Just yesterday, I was thinking, why can't I sleep in the afternoon like every normal person, even when I'm on holiday? And then I realized that when we were younger, my dad would tell us that stop being lazy, get up and do something. Make sure you're doing something. If you're not practicing your homework or you're not reading a book, just go and get busy. He doesn't like to see us just sit down or just sleep in the afternoon. And so I realized that this is why I'm not used to sleeping in the afternoon. I just can't. So my formative years, they are not so eventful like every other child, because my dad was very disciplined, very, very disciplined. And so all those things that we saw him doing, automatically, I just carried on And I do not really have friends around, so I have time to get to know myself, who I am, get to know about my parents, and spending time with them really helped me and formed the person that I am today. Another thing is teaching. When it comes to teaching, I've watched my parents taught in maybe Sunday school or in the church, and I just love the way the actions and everything. I just love everything about it until when I became an adult. And after going for one degree and then going for another course in teaching, I had to change my career. And then I settled to be a teacher. So my formative years are really not so eventful like every normal child, but I can say that it has formed the person I am today. And I'm really grateful to God that I had to go through that, because it was like a training ground for me. Really, it was like a training ground for me. And I do not regret having that experience. I'm telling you.
The things we experience as children form us, is a big part of how we end up as adults. So certain parts of it is like integral into how we are being. And there are certain parts of it that we have to now kind of look at and assess and think, okay, is this serving me moving forward to the next phase of my life? Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I remember you've mentioned in the past that you have 4 brothers or 3 brothers?
3.
Yeah, you have 3 brothers.
Yep.
Okay, so and you grew up in Nigeria as well.
Mm-hmm.
Your formative years was in Nigeria. So how has the transition been? Because you've lived in UAE for a few years now. So how has the transition been in terms of difference in culture and just adaptation to a new country, a new lifestyle, or just being around the different cultures? How have you found that transition?
Okay, I think this also will go back, or it's attached somehow to my formative years. Growing up with brothers. I don't know if you know, but it's not that easy. And you're the only female, There are times we want to play and we'll have to do all the rough play together, because I do not have any other choice. Like I said, I had no friends then. So they're my friends, they're my brothers. So, and I've had to adjust whenever I'm playing with them. And then whenever I am in school and in the midst of my, friends in the school, and of course they are female, so I have to adjust as well. So it's, and sometimes when we go to church or for some events, I have to adjust. I cannot be playing football with all these female because I only do that with my brothers. So I think I have been able to do I can easily adjust even right from when I was young. So, and at some point I had to leave home and I had to be living in another city, which is very new for me. None of us has ever gone outside home before. I was the first person to go out on my own without any supervision. And I was in my early 20s then. But I was able to adjust also. So I think I've learned very early in life that there is no permanent situation. And so whenever things change, whenever there is any change around you, you have to adjust. You just have to adapt. You cannot change some things. You just have to adapt, except if you do not want to be in that place any longer. And talking about this environment, we're talking about human beings here. And it is only if you're a teachable person or someone that really wants to learn. It's actually very interesting to learn about other cultures, to learn about, just very interesting to hear that there are some wonderful languages that when you hear, you just feel like, wow, this is not sounding like what I normally hear. And just learning from other people that about their cultures, about their way of life. It is interesting for me, and I do not find it very difficult to adjust when I moved here. It was like a smooth transition, so to say, for me, because I love having, even though I have few friends, but yes, I like associating with people. I like meeting new people. So I think that's has helped me. And again, it's just tied back to my formative years.
Absolutely. having that adjustment between, your brothers, as you mentioned, and then your friends, you learned at an early age how to kind of adapt to a new environment, to adapt to different situations. Wow, fantastic. So on your journey, you're a content creator. We forgot to add that part in your bio. You are a content creator. And so your journey as a content creator correct me if I'm wrong, but it started in the pandemic. Can you shed the light on how that journey started and what ignited that journey?
Now we're going back to the memory lane. Okay. Shortly before the pandemic started, I lost my dad. And it was a big deal for me and a big change in my life at that time, because as the only female in the family, as most people will know, you'll be like the closest to your dad. And not only to your dad, but to everyone, but mostly to my dad. And we had that relationship. It wasn't only father-daughter relationship. It was, best friends relationship. It was pastor-daughter, it was just the kind of perfect relationship anyone could have wished for. So losing him at that time was a downtime for me. That's the only time way I can explain it. So anyway, before then, I know that I love encouraging people. I really do. If I'm going through something now and someone just come to me that I'll need your help or I'll need your advice or I'll need your counsel on something, I forget about what I'm going through immediately. And I just pick up whatever that topic is, and just dive into it. So before then, I know that I love encouraging people and I would like to do more than just reaching out to the people in my environment. So when I lost my dad then, it was, like I said, it was shortly before the pandemic started. It was in February. We lost him in February, and then the pandemic started around March, April, early first week in April, thereabouts. I mean, the lockdown. So I just returned from the final, farewell ceremony for him back to UAE. And then the Holy Spirit spoke to me to start encouraging people on a bigger platform, because that was what he has been telling me to do before now. I did not see it as something that it's just like it's the wrong time to start for me, because I feel that this is the time I need other people to lift me up. I don't have what it takes to lift others up. I had so many excuses, but after some time, long story short, I started anyway. And one thing I noticed was immediately I started, that was when my healing started.
Wow.
Because like I said, it wasn't till now. The last time I went home, I went into his room. I saw his picture again, saw some of his things around, memories. I was crying. So till now, I still miss him a lot. But the healing did not start until I took that step. So it means that maybe the effect on me would have still been so much more. Maybe I would have been in depression for a long time till this time, even after 3 years. But I can tell you that I was not the person that first received that news that, oh, your dad is gone. I'm no more that person, because I've moved a lot. I mean, I've come a long way. I think one thing that really stood out for me in that experience is just that sometimes in life, you may not be thinking that you have what it takes to take a step. But when you decide to take that step, all you need is a little bit leap of faith.
Absolutely.
And then that pushes you forward to do much more. Because we don't do things by our power, but by the grace of God. So, but you have to take the step forward. And then when you take that step forward, because again, another thing for me was that if I hadn't taken that step at that time, I would have stopped living. And fulfillment doesn't come until you do things that you love to do. You may have a well-paying job and all of that, but if you do not do things that you love to do, fulfillment does not come. I started getting this, it was just like I was empowered after taking that step. And so I knew that definitely this is the right thing to do, even though it feels wrong for me, but it's the right thing to do. And immediately after the first video, it was just people just sharing testimonies. Oh, thank you for this encouragement. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And that keeps empowering me more. When you hear testimonies from people, when you hear what other witnesses, after hearing or watching the videos. So it was like I said, it wasn't like, it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel that this is the right time to do this, but taking that step really, really helped me. And I have come a long way from that first day to now.
I want us to stay a bit on this because there's actually a lot to unpack in what you just said. Why was it that it felt logically, it felt wrong? Because at that moment is when you needed encouragement the most. From a logical perspective, people would understand if you lay in bed, you don't want to talk to anyone, you don't want to, you're basically wallowing in the grief, rightfully so. This is someone that was close to you, very, very close to you. But even though logically, and you said it didn't feel, but deep down inside, it was the right thing to do. And like you said, as soon as you took that step, it was almost like the grace, the empowerment, everything else you needed to carry on came. I think a lot of us fall short at that tipping point. Because there is a disconnect between the spirit and also what we feel, how it feels, or how it's logically from our mind perspective. So how can we distinguish both, and how can we now choose to make that right decision, which is basically going with what our spirit is telling us?
Okay, so for me, the first thing that happened that made me to start, having a rethink about it was, I think most of the time when we go through things, we keep things to ourselves. We don't want to share, especially we feel that maybe if I share, they will tell me that you're not doing the right thing, for any reason at all. Sometimes we just want to isolate ourselves, when we go through things. We want to feel, we want the whole of our body to feel that, that yes, I'm really, really grieving and, I'm going through this. But it maybe it may feel right at the time, because it will look so stupid if you're doing otherwise sometimes to other people. But the best thing to do is, first of all, I shared the idea with my husband that time. And then he said, yeah, go ahead. So I'll say, number one, have positive people around you.
That's good.
Support system.
Absolutely.
It's really important. Sometimes we don't want to do things. We don't feel like it, but having those people that will push you and keep pushing you because they know you, they know your capacity, and they just want you to become better, having them around you and sharing with them really help. So I shared with him at that time, and he said, why not? Go ahead. I know you very well. I know it's something you do it already. So yeah, go ahead. Use the platform. So that was the first thing for me. And then I think the other thing is, I thought then that, is it the right thing to do? Okay, it doesn't seem right to any other person, but is it the right thing to do? Because if I am taking that step, it means I'm obeying God to do what God asked me to do. Number two, it is also right because I will be doing right by myself. This has been a vision for me, before that time. So if I'm not taking that step at that time, I don't know. There is always no better time to do all this procrastination and all of it. There's always no better time to do something. If you say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, you'll keep procrastinating. There is something that will always come up. So I just feel that even though it may not feel right, but yes, why not start now? Why should I delay? Why should I wait? So if I check, do I have any excuse not to take this step? Is it only because of this? So it is only because of what I'm going through right now. Do I have what it takes to encourage others? Do I have the resources, the mind and, put things together, the idea? Can I actually do this? Yes, I ticked all the boxes, and the only thing is just that I feel that I'm not mentally ready at the time. So I had to settle that with myself. Like I do say this. This may sound funny, but I do have a meeting with myself sometimes.
It doesn't sound funny, Christiana. Believe me. You sit yourself down sometimes and you give yourself a
Exactly.
good talking to. But
Exactly.
not only you, believe me, if people
Okay.
open up to tell you what they do, or when
Then
they're talking to themselves in the mirror, you will be shocked. A lot of people have meetings with themselves, and
okay.
we should continue to do that actually.
Okay. Then so I don't feel abnormal.
No, you're not abnormal, you're totally normal.
All right. So I had a meeting with myself then, and the outcome of the meeting was, after going through the pros and the cons, what may possibly go wrong. And I think one of the things that would have held me back then was also the fact that what if it doesn't go well? Ugh, what if people don't like it? And most of the time, I am saying this again, most of the time, we hold back to do things not because of how we feel, but because of self-doubt.
Mm.
Self-doubt. Because even if you're having headache sometimes, that doesn't stop you from going out or doing some other things. But when it comes to taking some steps or decisions, we doubt ourselves. So I did that at that time, and was one of the things my husband told me that, why are you doubting yourself? You've been doing it before now. And then he had to remind me of some instances when I've done that, in the past. So I'm like, okay, just do it. So the other thing is, whatever may make me stop at that time, I made sure that I do away with it. So one thing that would have made me stop for me, I don't know of other people, for me is if I should record a video now and I go back to watch it, I may delete it immediately. I don't like
Wow.
myself. I do not.
Wow. Now I'm actually shocked to hear that. I
Yeah,
would
I
never
know.
have guessed.
I know. I don't watch the videos. I just record and just put it online immediately because
Mm.
when I first started, that was one of the things that would have made me not to start in the first place because I wanted to be perfect. And if it is not perfect, I'll just keep doing it. And I'm sure that I'll get weary, I'll get tired, and I may never do anything. So anything that will not allow you to take that step, it's better you do away with it. Like self-doubt, like anything that it may be. Because if you do not do it now, then when are you going to do it? When? There's never a right time. There's something that will always come up. So basically, that's how I overcame it, and that I took that first step then.
You know what? I think we can have a separate podcast on to unpack this because what you're saying is actually to eliminate the weights, eliminate the distractions. A lot of
Mm.
times we pass into something, we're about to take a leap of faith because it's a matter of taking a leap of faith. But then we
Exactly.
have all these extra weights that are holding our wings, extra weight of what will people say, over analysis, or how
Yep.
do I look? The camera is not right, the platform is not right, or I look silly, or my voice, so many things. And you talk yourself out of purpose. We talk
Yeah.
ourselves out of purpose. So
Mm-hmm.
it's eliminating the distractions, posting straight away,
Yeah.
and letting go of perfection. There's one of the moms that came on the podcast. Our motto is progress over perfection. progress over perfection. You discover, you refine as you go on, you refine as you go on. But if you're waiting to be perfect before you start, it's going to take a long time if you ever even do start. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow. What have you learned so far? In the past, you've done it for what, 2 years, two and a half? How long? 3 years. What would you say 2 core lessons you've learned so far?
Number 1, and I think this is at the top of the list, never limit yourself. Never, ever. Situation, feelings may want to limit you. People around you may want to limit you, but do not put that label on yourself. Because others may discourage you, but it doesn't get at you until you do that to yourself. So you have to protect this part. Once there is a shield over it, there's nothing coming from outside that can affect you. So never, ever limit yourself. And that's the biggest lesson. I'm telling you, after starting that, I just felt that, okay, if I can do this at this time, because before then, I don't think there's anything that I've been able to do, as much as that. The second thing is always obey God. It may sound religious, but I'm telling you, I wouldn't have been here where I am right now if I had not thought of the consequences of disobeying his voice as well.
For some of our members that are not in that place where they can hear God or they feel they can hear God, because I think it is constantly speaking to us. And regardless of whether you're a Christian or not, we do have that consciousness. So how can they shut down the external noise and listen to what is coming from within?
The kind of people around you. Sometimes, and like I mentioned earlier, having a support system is really, and not just these people that gives you negative vibes. You will know them. Once you talk about one great idea, they talk you down. They tell you, they give you reasons why you do not have to even start at all. So if you have people around you that give you good counsel, keep them close. If you have people around you that always talk you down, keep them far, far away, or even just tell them that, sorry, but we can no longer continue this relationship, because in the long run, one is going to affect you positively and the other will affect you negatively. So, and again, like I said, you have to protect yourself first. You have to shield your heart. You have to think about yourself, because they are definitely not thinking about if they are negative people. They're not thinking about, the impact on you. So you have to think about those people that can really give you good counsel and keep them close to you only. Like I said before also, I have very few friends. Of course, you're one of them. So, but I don't keep people, I think, and that's one of the reasons I have few friends. I have so many people I talk to, but I have few friends that I actually share things with, because I just want to be careful of people that I share things with. What's the essence of keeping someone with you if every time you share things with them, you only give and they just keep taking from you? And they don't have anything to offer.
Give back.
There must be something they have. There's no human being that is empty. They must be able to give you something back in return. So I think having that in mind is also important, and is something that I've learned. And I'm still doing it, because there is no level in life that you will get to and you will feel that, oh no, I don't need counsel again. You will always need a support system.
Absolutely. I wanted to mention that for some people, they may not be as lucky as you in terms of having those counsel close by. They may actually be in a situation where everyone around them is negative, or maybe they found themselves, or maybe they are just starting their journey of growth. And what happens sometimes is when the person is at that starting point, most people around them are still behind, but then they've made that realization that, okay, I want to start improving myself. I want to start this journey of improving myself, finding my purpose, doing things, being disciplined. For people in that group, oftentimes they don't have the counsel they need around them. So they have to, I feel like they have to actively go out there to find it, or actively, intentionally find new friends, which sounds a bit awkward for people our age, because it's very difficult at our age to find people to be friends with, or people that you feel like you can gain from without being very intentional about it. So I think there was a time this was a question that came up in a conversation one time, and someone told me that you can actually have virtual mentors, people that you don't know them, they don't know you, you're their mentee, but you're being mentored by them.
Yeah.
Yes. So please shed the light on that, please.
So when you started talking, two things came to my mind, and that's you've mentioned one, virtual mentors. At some point, and actually recently, I had to start speaking to someone online. We've never met face to face before. We've just been talking, on phone or online. And I had to start talking to her because I could see that our visions are in alignment. So I know she has something to offer me. So I started making friends with her. And there's a course I just finished. I got the information through her. So you can actually make virtual friends. It's possible. So it's just about being very careful. Look at the profile of that person very well. Look through maybe some of the things they've already posted online. So you can see that, okay, this is someone that I would like to associate with. And then you start a conversation from there. The other thing is, there's nothing wrong in making new friends, actually.
Absolutely.
We just started talking. Both of us just started talking. We've known each other since 2018, right?
Yeah.
All right. But we've just started talking like closely, like maybe 2 years ago, if I'm right.
Yeah.
So
you're right.
Why can't we make new friends? Because if you find yourself in a new environment and the people you used to know are no more reachable, you need to create another network for yourself.
Absolutely. I think people sometimes struggle. They feel it's awkward. I know I'm just trying to kind of think about what might be what might stand in the way of that. So I think people find it, maybe it's a bit awkward. Maybe I don't want to appear like I need you, God knows, just the same way we have self-doubt, and the same way we talk ourselves out of things that are actually good for us. I think that's also the thing. And also with women, I think there is this assumption that, okay, we don't want to come across, I have my everything together. So there is all that layer to deal with. And there is also the layer of with the age, because I think when you were younger, sometimes it's easier to kind of walk to someone on the playground and let's be friends. But the older we get, the more people have a facade, people are professional in an environment, and then all this weight, I call them weight, because at the end of the day, we all need connection. We're social people. We need connection. No one is meant to be an island or just be by themselves. So why do you think we struggle as women, especially? Why do you think we struggle in that area?
You mentioned most of it already. The way we make up as women, we also make up our emotions as well.
I love the analogy. Oh my goodness.
That's just a simple way to put it, And this is so unfortunate, because this is another reason why you see women that have been abused in their marriages and they are still looking okay on the outside. You will never tell. You'll never be able to tell. It's very unfortunate. I don't know who started this, but it's a wrong teaching. Someone has to start telling people to stop. So we make up to let people feel that, oh, everything is fine, I'm doing great, But I think we have to start being sincere with ourselves. Start from there. You have to be sincere with yourself. If you need help, cry out for help. There is no shame. They used to say men have ego, but I think women have more ego. Looking at the kind of things that women, they just try to bottle it all up, try to make sure that everything looks rosy on the outside, So you just have to let it aside and do what you have to do for your own well-being. These days, the topic of well-being, mental well-being, is a very big topic. Why? Because people have been bottling in their emotions, their feelings for so long, because they feel that is what they are supposed to do to look good to other people outside. Meanwhile, you are dying slowly. So instead of keeping yourself and then making people feel that you are fine, why not just be real? Be real, be truthful to yourself. You're not going to, those people that you are showing off to or that you are trying to let them feel that you're fine, they may not even remember you after a few days. But whatever effects or impacts that will happen from that stays with you, maybe forever sometimes. So I don't know, but this is what I advise, and this is what I am offering. Lay aside anything that makes you feel that you have to hold it all together, that you have to make sure that everyone sees that you're a perfect, 100% perfect human being. There's nothing as such. Absolutely nothing as such. And social media is not helping issues either. Social media paints the
that
picture
is
of
true.
perfection for everyone. So if you have to go off social media so that you start living in reality, do that. Because there's no perfect life anywhere. I don't know if you've seen one, but not even on social media. Because after a while, you start seeing some things that are not right, the stories and all of that. So lay aside these things and just be real, be genuine. If you are friendly, genuinely friendly to people around you, you will see someone that is like you after a while. If you start telling people that, oh, hello, I'm just checking on you, I'm just saying hello. And after a while, you will, if you've been doing that with two people, maybe one of them, after a while, one of them will come back and start checking on you genuinely as well. That's how friendship will start. That's how it will start. So friendship doesn't start, of course, it doesn't start like just in one meeting. It takes time to build trust. It takes time to build a friendship. So you start laying the foundation little by little, and then you start it from there. But you have to make that first move. I don't think there's any other way around it than making yourself friendly so that you can attract friendly people or like-minded people.
That's the truth. The truth sometimes it's not, we don't need to paint it any other way. That's the fact. That's the truth. And with both situations, in terms of even starting out, it takes faith. It takes making that first step. Even with friendship as well, finding like-minded people, it also takes making that effort, taking that first step, just like you said with the examples. And there was something you said, and I just wanted to highlight it. There is power in vulnerability. When we feel like we need to make this front, that our life is, everything is all perfect, and there's no power there. There is nothing to pass on to anyone. But when we show how we've come through a situation, and we're not in a place where it's like now we're empowered, we can share that, but we have to be vulnerable. I love how you shared about the experience with your dad when you lost your dad. That was being vulnerable. You didn't paint it out like, yes, I was fine, and I got over it, and now I'm empowering people. No, you told us you literally wanted to stay in bed. But that vulnerability, I feel women need to just know that there's power in being vulnerable and sharing, being authentic. Just tell us how it is. Tell us how you struggled and how you overcame the struggle.
When I was let me go back to my formative years now, I used to struggle a lot. Like I told you, I do not have friends then. So even when I'm in school and I'm playing with the other female, friends around, classmates, I wouldn't call them friends actually, classmates. I always feel like the odd one out, majorly because I'm the only female at home. And when they start playing, I just feel that, okay, if I should start now, I'll be like a little bit too much, all over the place because I'll play like a boy. So I always feel left out, and I can't remember any other reason than this. So I do not like it. You cannot feel left out and you will like it. And every time I always look forward to going back home instead of going to school or staying in school. And when I got to secondary school, in my junior years, it was almost the same. But then things started changing because I started mingling with more girls around. So I started shifting my focus that it is not about other people. I need to work on myself. So then I started making that effort to work on myself and then to make things work and to make friendship work, to make relationship work around me. So I think that has always been my own way of doing things. It's like I said, it doesn't take just one meeting or one day to start making a friendship work, but taking your time. I take my time a lot when I want to choose my friends. We don't just become friends immediately. Mhm. I have to take my time because even though I have few friends, but I also want to keep people around me that can influence me positively. I think that's just what I do. I don't know if that has answered your question. Let me know if I need to.
Absolutely. No, it has. It absolutely does answer that question. Now, sometimes the word purpose can seem a bit weighty. It might. I'm speaking from experience. From the pulpit, going to church, you need to find your purpose. You need to find your purpose. But what is purpose? Like, why does it feel sometimes like it's a weighty word? And what is it? I think in a simplest term, like what is it and how do we discover what it is?
Let me use my own definition of purpose. For me, purpose is not what you do every day. Maybe you go to work every day, you earn money. Purpose may not even be something where you earn a lot of money from. Purpose is just something that you love to do. You really love to do it. And the truth is, every one of us have that one thing or more than one thing that we love to do above every other thing. That if they should give you an option to choose between what you're doing right now and what you really love to do, you will want to choose what you love to do. But sometimes we don't jump into what we love to do because maybe it will not fetch us more money or to survive. So I think for me, I'm not thinking now. For me, purpose is finding that power to just do those things that I love to do. Like I said, I've always loved encouraging people, but one of the things I also love to do is to talk. I love talking. I like talking. I don't do it all the time. Some people don't even know that I talk a lot until we have a conversation, a long conversation. So I talk all the time. Now, talking all the time, if you want to, we want to look at it very well. It may be like, what can I do to fetch money? How can I talk all the time to fetch me money? So, but now thinking of how can that impact life? Because your purpose will definitely have an impact on other people's life. It's not something that you do that will necessarily fetch you money, but it will have an impact. So I then had to think about it. How can I turn this passion, this thing burning within me, how can I turn it to impact other people's life? So you start from there. And purpose is not something that you just realize in one day sometimes, because it has taken me a journey to get to the place where I now know that, okay, this is my purpose. And one thing about purpose is once you start doing it, you know that this is your purpose. This is what you are made to do. So I would just say in summary, purpose is what you are made to do that will give you fulfillment. It will definitely give you fulfillment. You may not, You will think about you doing that thing, or whenever you do that thing, you will be having this joy in your heart that no one can explain. And then it will impact other people's life. So for me, that is purpose. That is not, just doing something or keeping yourself busy, but impacting lives while you are using your passion for people around you.
I love that definition because you kept it simple. It's that thing that we're designed to do, that thing that gives us joy. And you were very, very, I love that you said it doesn't necessarily have to give us money. I think this is where sometimes things get confused.
Yep.
But it has to be impactful. So two things. It's what you're designed to do, and then it's impactful. So the impact, because you are being a blessing to other people, even if it's art, even if it's writing, even if it's speaking, even if it's whatever it is. If you're lucky enough and then it does give you money, that is just the icing on the cake. But that doesn't necessarily mean that money has to be involved every time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that to me that's a great definition, because I think we need to make this thing simple sometimes, because it does seem unattainable, because people are trying to mix money, mix career, mix purpose, and then it's like then you get confused because maybe it's not going exactly the way you've envisioned it or planned it in your mind.
So when you were talking about maybe it's not going the way you have, envisioned it or planned it to be, sometimes it doesn't have to go the way you plan it to be, which is even though you have a purpose, even though you have a passion, you still have to write it down. If you have a passion, write it down, because every vision that is not written down will be lost after some time. So you have to write it down. What is your purpose? What are you called to do? What is your passion? Write it down. And from there, you can start building on it. What are the things that I need to do to actualize it? What are the things? So it's not only having it in your mind that, okay, it has to work this way, it has to work that way. Write it down. That is where it starts from. So when you start writing it down, then you can also think of what you can do to make it work. Write those down also. And what are the things that can go wrong while trying to make it work? Write those down also, because then you are pre-informed, if I can use that word, if you're pre-informed of what can go wrong, what can possibly go wrong. So you work towards it not going wrong because you have that information at hand. So things doesn't always go as we plan it, not necessarily. So many times things don't go the way we plan it. But if we don't have a vision written down, it will get lost, because there are so many things going on.
Masterclass loading, masterclass on purpose loading. That is a lot. Honestly, that one in itself is a lot. Writing the purpose down, write the potentials that could go wrong down. There is a lot to unpack in that, because I've never actually thought of it that way, but it's such a good point. Writing the purpose down, having a vision board. Yes, I'm aware of that. But I never actually thought about the whole idea of writing and making plans for even when things don't go as we plan it to go. So it's having contingencies and just making sure you've thought about things from a 360 angle. Yeah. So, wow. Yeah. Masterclass loading. I'm just dropping a hint there.
Bring it on. No problem.
My thing now is, like you said, things don't always go as planned. And even sometimes the life we think or the life we expect doesn't always go as we want it. How do we continue to walk in purpose whilst we are waiting on something or waiting on God for something? Like, as I mentioned earlier, whilst we were talking before we started recording, some people are waiting on God for a job. Some people are waiting on God for a husband. Some people are waiting to have a child. In your experience and what you're going through, how are you able to still walk in purpose whilst you're waiting?
Okay, we've established the fact that things don't always go as we plan it to be. At first, when we got married and there was no, child coming forth, I was devastated. And then after some time, we're like, okay, let's start doing all in our power. Let's explore all the options. So we started the journey, we explored all the options. So at some point, we're like, okay, we've explored all the options. We've done everything humanly possible. So I told myself, I'm not going to waste while waiting. I'm going to start doing things, start getting busy. Because the truth of the matter is, if I had stopped and start thinking of only that one area of my life, it means other areas will suffer for it. It's just like having maybe like 4 children in a house, and one child is not feeling well. And because one child is not feeling well, you neglect all the other children. What will happen? Problem. So it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
So I told myself, I'm not going to waste while waiting. What else do I have passion to do? What else do I have passion for? Okay, I've started the encouraging video. All right, great. What else? And then I realized, oh, come on, I need to write a book. I've got something to pen down. So I did that. And then after some time also, I'm like, okay, in my career, I still want to get this course, this certification. Okay, go for it. And then after some time, I thought of it, oh, come. I love to counsel people, but I'm not certified yet. Okay, go for it. So I started thinking of things that will add value to me, because
That's a good point.
you are not defined by one thing. How can you define yourself by one thing? A whole, if I can put it that way, a whole creature of God. How can you be defined by one thing?
You were talking about how we can't allow one thing define us, the creation of God. And if you can just include, just for our listeners that don't have a background about your situation, if you could just mention how long you've been waiting on God for with regards to the fruit of doom, just to give a context on that, because they wouldn't know. I know, but they don't know. So you can just touch on that lightly, and then we can
All right,
start.
so we got married in 2014. So if you calculate it, it's like going to 10 years already, like 9 years, yeah, but more than 9 years now. So we've been waiting for that long, but I did not start thinking about, focusing on my purpose until after some time. The first thing we do, as every human being, will do, is when we're going through things, we feel that, why me? Why will this happen to me? Why will I be going through this? And I've always remembered what my dad would say. If you're saying, why you? Why not you? Should it be me? It will always tell people like that. Should it be me that will be going through that? So and then after some time, I realized that actually what I'm going through right now is making me stronger. It's not making me weaker. It's not making me less of a human being. People define success in marriage differently. That's their own definition. So for the fact that one thing is not there right for now doesn't mean that the marriage is not successful or I'm not successful as a human being. And so I have to start redirecting my focus and my definition of success. I have to I have to find my own definition of success. And so I started with, I cannot limit myself. I can't afford anyone to limit me. And I can't afford my situation or whatever I'm going through to limit me. So, and I realized that if only I can allow myself to fly, I can actually fly. So why limit myself? Why not add value to myself? Why not impact other people's life? That's another mistake we're making, that we make sometimes, that if I'm not getting this, then how can I be helping other people? How can you not help other people? If you have the capacity, help other people. So if as we all know, we're not decreasing in age, we're increasing in age. So it means the opportunity I had when I was in my 30s, I do not have it now. So it means if I have lost those opportunities, I will have to be struggling right now. If I've lost the opportunity to start the videos when I started, I will be starting just now. And it means there may be some people that I would have impacted at the space of those 3 years, but now I've lost them. So why will I wait until I feel or people feel that things are now good and you can start? Again, I think at that point I had a meeting with myself also, and then and then I just told Christiana, listen, nobody should limit you. You are the one that can limit yourself. And I just took it from there.
Mic drop moments were too much. I didn't want to interrupt you. Like when you said, no, seriously, it's like I'm trying to, I don't want to scream, I want to say something, but at the same time, I don't want to interrupt you talking. We need to find our own definition of success. And it is layered. That is a very heavy topic because especially coming from a cultural background, being African, being a woman, having this expectation of what does success look like. They've told you all your life what success is. You do this at this age, you finish university, you get married before 30, in a lot of homes in that. After 30, they're thinking, okay, what's going on? I know. What's going on? Let's go and do some special prayers, So there is all that weight already. Then there's already an expectation that you need to have this amount of kids. You need to have this certain gender in some cultures as well. If you don't have the male child, you're not successful in your marriage already. So there is all that weight that we have to really release ourselves from in terms of that definition of what success looks like. And then we decide what success is. There are women now that don't even want to have children. That's their choice. That is their choice. Exactly. And they have the right to choose that without people having this expectation or looking at them in some sort of way. Some people want to focus on their careers, or maybe their career calls for a certain level of dedication that they don't feel that they can do both. Why do we feel we need to put this burden on women? And even we women, we put it on ourselves as well.
Exactly.
So I love when you mentioned that fact, we defining what success looks like to us.
Yeah.
We make that decision.
Exactly.
And not limiting ourselves as well.
So I had to do that because I realized that if I do not do that, I'm not helping Christiana, and I need to help Christiana because that there are times in life. In fact, allow me to say, most of the time in life, people can only tell you some words of encouragement, but you are the one that can encourage yourself. You are the one. They can try to pick you up, but you are the one that will make the effort to actually stand up. If you do not stand, if you refuse to stand, they can keep trying to pick you up and nothing will happen. So you have to learn to pick yourself up. Even after hearing these words of motivations, inspirational talks and all of that, you still have to act. If you do not do anything, nothing happens. So seeing yourself in the light of, I saw myself in the light of the word of God. What does he say that I am? Okay, I've got that established. Now, who do you want to be, Christiana? Who do you want to be? You want to be someone that they will talk about and say, oh no, she never achieved anything. She was just waiting all along to have a child. And then she had the child. And then what happened after that? So it depends on how when you find your purpose and then you start working towards achieving it. And then you now say that, listen, this is who I am. This is success according to my own dictionary. Because the more you use other people's measuring standard for yourself, the more you limit yourself. Because your standard is different from my own standard. And I cannot use your measurement to measure my own success. We are graced differently. We are. And you have to realize that. So you be true to your own self, be true to yourself, and just stay in your own lane, not trying to be someone else or to look like someone else. No, just be true to yourself and do what you know is good for you without thinking of what other people will think about. Because in the end, when it matters, it will be you and you alone.
We have to do the work. That's what I'm getting from this. We have to do the work. No one is going to do it. You can listen to as many motivational messages, as many things, hear so many advice, and at the end of the day, we decide. We take the steps. We take the steps, we do the work, because it is work.
Yeah,
it's not fancy. It's not having your conversation with yourself, like you keep saying that you do. It's not pretty. It's not a pretty thing, because sometimes when we look inwards, we see the parts of ourselves that we don't like.
Yeah.
We see the parts of ourselves that we hide from the world. The part of ourselves that who are you deceiving? You're looking at yourself in the mirror, but the parts of you that the parts of you that you need to work on, the weaknesses, the areas that stand in your way. But I think what I'm hearing from your heart is just telling us as women, we need to do this work, whether it's pretty or not. Because at the end of the day, we need to answer. We need to answer to ourselves. This gift, this purpose, whatever it is that's been put inside of us. And like you said, everybody, every single person, regardless of your religion, every single person has something to give.
Yes, definitely.
So don't wait till when I have this child, or when I get to this house. And when you get to the house, or when I get a bigger house, or when I drive a better car, or it's like you have all these milestones in our head that we want to achieve. And then we get there, and sometimes that doesn't even bring us the joy or the fulfillment.
Exactly. If I may just jump in there, one of the things that I also told myself was, okay, so what happens after I give birth or get whatever I want? What happens after then? Okay. Then I'll start thinking of, they have to go to university. They have to be so in life. So it doesn't mean that I've reached my final destination. So that is life for you. But you see, whatever you do when you find your purpose, after finding your purpose, that purpose will always give you fulfillment, no matter what or where you find yourself in life.
Absolutely.
So yes, I am not saying that, when you want something really bad, don't go after it. Just leave it if it's not coming, and do other things to find your purpose or whatever. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that while you're waiting, do yourself a favor. That's the least you can do for yourself. That's the least. You go to work every day. Sometimes you do not like that job. You don't like your boss. You don't like everything about the job. Yet you work very hard. Why will you do that for other people and not do something more than that for yourself?
Whoa, that was like a snap in the a wake up call. Why can't we do that for ourselves, but we do that for other people?
Exactly.
We do that for our jobs. We do that for family members. We do that for everyone else. But
we do. We go the extra mile for other people. So why are you putting yourself at the back bench? Why? You have to love yourself before you can have the capacity to love others. So if you can do that for other people and you're not doing half of it for yourself, you're not a truthful person. You're not a genuine person. You have to be real. Be real with yourself.
I'm going to have to listen to this because there's just a lot in there. Now, tell us about Be Encouraged with Christiana. I want to end by giving you a chance to share something about your platform and what you're doing for people.
So Be Encouraged with Christiana Bamidele is just a platform where, as it is laid in my heart, I just take a topic weekly and I share with people. I share it through my social media platforms. Now, When I say weekly, the other thing about finding your purpose is once you start, you have to be consistent.
Mm.
If there is no consistency, it's dead along the way. And once it's dead, it's a failure. So that has been one thing that I believe God has been helping me, because there were days that I was very sick and I would still sit down with my makeup in front of the camera just to make sure that I record the videos. And I think one thing that has been helping me, that's been pushing me to go on, is the passion behind it. I love to see the world to become a better place. I love to see, I know so many people are going through a lot, a lot. Like we said earlier, we wear these smiling faces, we wear this makeup and, just cover every other thing that is inside. And it's painting a wrong picture of how we actually feel. So I believe sharing those videos, it's online. And so it reaches out to, not only people in my locality, it reaches out to people far and near. And so hearing those words of encouragement, I just know that it will help someone. So I keep doing it anyway. And like I said, it has not been easy sometimes recording it. Sometimes there are times that I just feel down myself and I wasn't mentally ready to record the video, but because I've made a commitment to always record it weekly, I do it anyway. And after some time, I will just have to encourage myself to carry on as well. So Be Encouraged with Christiana Bamidele is just a platform where I just post inspirational messages, motivational messages to help people, to just encourage people. And even though the platform has not been used for this yet, but we also have a WhatsApp group, you're aware, where we just encourage this. And the WhatsApp group is for ladies. When I say ladies, I mean we have some young girls there, we have women there, we have elderly women there as well. So we just have in different, and different races as well. So it's just a WhatsApp group for women where we encourage one another. Because again, I know men also need encouragement, but I believe in women empowerment. And, this has been a burden on my heart for a while also. So we just use that platform as well to bring women together and to encourage one another, to just be there for one another, to also network. And it's also another reason we have that we have that platform is because of creating a network. Like we talked about support system. That's one of the ways I feel that I can give back to the society and just say, okay, this is my quota of helping you find a support system. So that's basically, for now, all I can share about Be Encouraged with Christiana Bamidele.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your heart. You didn't come, you weren't playing. You came with the fire. You came with the word.
Right?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. No, but seriously, thank you so much for just sharing your heart with us. We really, really appreciate it. We normally end the podcast by asking 3 questions. How would you describe yourself in one word?
Diligent.
Okay. And from everything you've said, and from everything you learned from your father, that was the first thing. That was the first way you started. You said he was a very disciplined and diligent man. So yes, I can attest to that. When do you feel the happiest? What moments do you feel the happiest?
Oh, when I'm fellowshipping with God. You know that already.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. You've shared that with me before. If you could tell 5-year-old Christiana something, what would you tell her? If you could tell your 5-year-old self something, what would you tell her?
Go out there and get it.
Wow. In other words, don't be afraid.
Mm-mm.
Don't be afraid. Take that step.
Yeah,
Take that step. Do that
exactly.
thing. Write that vision. Write
I can't believe I just
contingency
told you all
plan.
of that. I can't believe I just told you all of that without thinking twice.
Well, you know what? It just shows it's genuine, that it just comes
Yeah.
from the heart. You don't need to think about it.
Hmm.
Oh, honestly, my heart is full. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lovely time with you as well. Thank you.